Hello, karibu to another episode of Sauti Podcast. Na najua it's long ever since we had a conversation, but today tutakuwa tuna dive in conversation that is very important on public participation. Maybe nikuulize, when was the last time ulienda kwa public participation? Yeah, tell me. Think about it. When was the last time ulienda public participation? Najua watu wengi wanadhani nikiuliza public participation naongea kuhusu baraza ya chief. No, I'm not talking about that kind of public participation. Ile kitu naongelea public participation where we make a decision on how our resources are being used. Inaweza kuwa ni so the different levels of public participation. Na the most popular one mostly inakuwaga on budget making, whereby budget is a continuous cycle from the start of the year, or where the start of the year mostly is in July 1st. So every July 1st, that is where the financial year kila gava mostly in Kenya, that's where the financial year starts, both the county government and the national government. So the cycle starts all of a sudden again, and just before end of June, because unajua budget inasomangwa in June, before your budget is somewhere, there is so many processes that it goes through, and part of that cycle whereby kuna even before, so kitu inasomagwa in parliament, basically that is the budget estimates. Now before your budget estimate is somewhere, there are so many processes that they go through, both the county and the national government. So after maybe wacha tuanze the first public participation. Ya kwanza inakuwaga after every election kuna kuwa na kitu inaitangwa integrated county development plan. County integrated development plan, CIDP, whereby wasi wanaendaga wanasema ni aje in the next 5 years tunataka kupea priority easy projects in these areas. And then now every year kuna kuwa na kitu inaitwa ADP, annual county CADP, which is county annual development plan. Hiyo ndo ile kila mwaka tunaendaga tunasema ni aje priority kwetu kwa ward yetu, tunataka kuona barabara, tunataka kuona hii barabara specifically. So unasema hii barabara kutoka hapa kwenda pale, ama unasema drainage, ama unasema we need to see these hospitals being equipped, we need to see this kind of development. So you go into specifics considering what you proposed during the county integrated development plan, which is a 5-year plan. Then the CADP is a 1-year plan. So hizi processes zote lazima kitu inaitwa public participation. Na najua kuna so many challenges zenye zimekuwa kwa public participation because you find a very low turnout. Unapata wasi wenye wanaendaga hizo CDP. Nakumbuka kuna moja tukiona Mr. and Miss Directors hapa tuliattend. Na they can attest that very few people wali turn out, because most of the people walikuwa kwa hiyo public participation were county officials, ama say they are working for the county in one way or the other, like for example the community health promoters, CHPs. But the other people were very few, wale wase wengine walikuwa wamekuja, but also there were different memos that were also shared. Because the other thing is that instead ya kungoja on that last day, because there is no enough time ya kuweza kupropose all these projects, the other thing that people do ni they can be able to be meeting in the course of like mnaweza kwa mnafanya meetings zenu, then you write a memo that proposes some of the things that you will want to see happening, and you can be able to present them during the public participation, and those things should be put in consideration whenever they are drafting the plan for that year. So hiyo ni kitu very important. Most people wanaendagi because first of all wanasemaga whatever you propose never end up in the budget. Wengine watasema wengine wanapena excuse it's tunapatanga information late na nini. Na tumekuwa try to make sure we bring these grievances and make sure that wase wanapata information on time to attend the public participation. Na hii ujue jumara mobu unapataga yes, we have our MCAs, we have our MPs, but zile vitu zinakuwa proposed pale, then it's easier. Unajua ukienda public participation, utajua tulipropose hii barabara. Then ile wakati watarudisha, waseme now from the public participation, tuko na do ya kufanya easy project. Then it's easier kuweza even to ask for accountability in those, because you know what project. Sasa, so na najua even in the last public participation challenge kubwa ilikuwa ni wasi walikuwa wanasema yes, you call us for public participation to propose project, but you never come back kutuambia zile tulipropose last year zimefikia hapa, zimefanywa mpaka hapa. Hiyo accountability ya kuonesha na yes, muli allocate this amount in these projects, so zimefikia wapi, kumeenda aje. So ni kitu very important ku make sure pia you engage in that process. Na saa hii napenda sana nikiona kitu Morara anafanya, because it's part of public participation, it's part of oversight. Actually anafanya job kubwa hata kuliko most of our MPs, okay, all of our MPs, because anazunguka everywhere. Anafanya kazi, anafanya peo kazi ya auditor general, because ile job ana do basically iko in that line. So I think all of us, na tumeona watu wanasema inaitwa Morara University, iko na so many graduates, so many of them wako kila mahali wakiangalia projects zile zimefanywa both na county na CDF, na zile zimefanywa pia other being done directly by the national government departments. So public participation is a very important, and it's aishagi ile siku tumeitwa mkutano pale, inafaa kuendelea, even like what people were doing online, whatever, whenever like you go to hizo offices za MP, hizo offices za MCA, hizo other county offices that basically they're supposed to deliver services. It's part of public participation, because the constitution gives us the ultimate power to be able to make sure that information is shared. The other thing, najua challenge kubwa imekuaga ni whenever like you go to these offices and you want to access information, they act like ile information uliza, it's like top secret kind of information. Everyone, according to the constitution, everyone, sina specifics of which article or which chapter, but everyone has access, has a right to access public information, as long as see information yenye na put in a threatened national security. But any other information, for example, accessing the budgets of your CDF, accessing the budget of the county and the ward development funds, it's very important to access that information, to know how much has been allocated, who are these contractors, sasa, and even going back to review, because if you know how much has been allocated, so for example, your nini imekuwa allocated 100 million, ukijua hivyo then kuangalia, you can be able to oversight and see zile projects zimefanyika within my ward, within my constituency, are they enough? So nimeongelea CIDP, but also another public participation yenye wase wengi will lose it, na most of them don't really wanaendanga hapo without being as objective, ni CDF, because I know public participation, it's also important. The CDF committee should also conduct a public participation, wasiweze kupropose na kupeana priority ya project wanaweza taka kuona kwa constituency. Juu isikue umekuja umesema unataka kujengea choo na already everyone in the constituency akona choo kwake kwa nyumba. So it's very important to make sure that everyone participates na anapea priority. Anasema a priority according to the areas that CDF should be taking care. We want to see 1, 2, 3. Kwa hivyo, on public participation is something that is very vital for all of us. Make sure you get the right information, make sure you have factual, and then kwange tu tumejipanga, because I think hata tunafaa tufike point yenye tunaambia wanaitwa nini, our employers, leo tunaenda public participation, so I won't be at work. Unapewa hiyo chance, unaenda una participate to make sure that development is being done. Inafaa ikuwe hivyo. And also I think also the other nini imekuwa suggested to even have public participation during Saturdays, whereby people who, because inafaa kuwa convenient, inafaa kuwa place wasi wanaweza access. Najua wafanyikazi wa serikali wapendi kufanya kazi weekend, but to a certain extent for the public good, sometimes some of these things are important to be done so that the public can be able to be engaged. So I think if you have any question, if you have any insight, you can comment, you can like, you can share. Let's still continue this conversation about public participation, because ni very important kuweza kuwa nayo. Until next time, naitwa Nelmo New Song, Sauti Podcast ndo ndani.